Plasma 찬간탕.
플라스마 찬간탕.
블라자나
Forcefinity. Forcefinity plus 1. Forcefinity plus absolute infinity. Forcefinity plus absolute never. Forcefinity plus godfinity. Forcefinity plus infinity. Forcefinity times 2. Forcefinity times 3. Forcefinity times 5. Forcefinity times 10. Forcefinity times 100. Forcefinity times 1000. Forcefinity square. Forcefinity cube. Forcefinity cubeplex. Forcefinity cube duplex.
Absolute Trumichai. The god.
Threefinity plus 1, threefinity plus 10, threefinity plus 100, threefinity plus infinity, threefinity plus absolute infinity, threefinity plus absolute never, threefinity plus godfinity, threefinity plus infinityfinity, threefinity plus forcefinity, threefinity double, threefinity square, threefinity cube,
Threefinity starplex.
absolute super duper, absolute super duper,
Plus 0.
absolute super duper,
Plus 0.8.
absolute super duper,
Plus 1.
absolute super duper,
Plus 10.
absolute super duper,
Plus 100.
absolute super duper,
Plus infinity.
absolute super duper,
Plus absolute infinity.
absolute super duper,
Plus absolute never.
absolute super duper,
Plus godfinity.
absolute super duper,
Plus infinitefinity.
absolute super duper,
Plus infinitefinity.
absolute super duper,
Plus cosfinity.
absolute super duper,
Plus all that is.
absolute super duper,
Plus happy emoji.
absolute super duper,
Plus absolute super duper DXE. Wait,
what? Absolute super duper, absolute super duper, absolute super duper,
times 4.
absolute super duper,
Times infinity.
absolute super duper, absolute super duper,
Cube.
Absolute ultimate infinity plus 1. Absolute ultimate infinity plus 10. Absolute ultimate infinity plus 100. Absolute ultimate infinity plus infinity. Absolute ultimate infinity plus absolute infinity. Absolute ultimate infinity plus absolute never. Absolute ultimate infinity plus godfinity. Absolute ultimate infinity plus infinitefinity. Absolute ultimate infinity plus infinity. Absolute ultimate infinity plus absolute super duper. Absolute ultimate infinity double. Absolute ultimate infinity square. Absolute ultimate infinity cube. Absolute ultimate infinity.
Absolute crores. Absolute crores square. Absolute crores power. Absolute fire. Absolute crores cube. Absolute crores double cubes. Absolute crores super cubes. Absolute infinity. Absolute infinity square. Absolute infinity power. Absolute fire. Absolute infinity power. Absolute crores. Absolute infinity power. Absolute crores power. Absolute fire. Absolute infinity square. Absolute infinity cube. Absolute infinity double cubes. Sex PR power absolute PR. Sex PR power absolute crores. Sex PR power absolute infinity. Sex PR power absolute extreme. Sex PR power quint PR. Super duper everything power everything. Sex PR cube. Sex PR double cubes. Sex PR super cubes. Sex higher. Sex higher power absolute higher. Sex higher power absolute crores. Sex higher power absolute infinity. Sex higher power absolute extreme. Sex higher power quint higher. Sex higher power sex higher. Mega everything power everything.
Extreme affinity. Extreme affinity plus 1. Extreme affinity plus 10. Extreme affinity plus 100. Extreme affinity plus infinity. Extreme affinity plus absolute infinity. Extreme affinity plus absolute extreme. Extreme affinity times 2. Extreme affinity square. Extreme affinity power absolute power. Extreme affinity power absolute cruise.
Ultra extreme affinity super.
Extreme affinity power absolute infinity. Extreme affinity power absolute extreme. Extreme affinity power quint power. Absolute extreme affinity super duper. Extreme affinity power sex power. Extreme affinity power sect power. Extreme affinity power warp power.
Giga everything power everything.
Extreme affinity cube. Extreme affinity double cubes. Extreme affinity super cubes.
Absolutely impossible.